All right, let's get right into it. We're about to explore a really powerful idea from Tran's book, and honestly, it might just flip everything you've ever been taught about confidence completely on its head. The whole idea is that waiting around to feel confident isn't just a waste of your time, it might be the very thing that's holding you back.
So, here's the big question. It's that classic chicken or egg problem, right? Which one actually comes first? Do you have to feel confident before you can take that first big step? Or does taking the step somehow create the confidence you were looking for all along? It's a question that gets so many of us stuck in place, just waiting for a feeling that, well, never seems to show up on its own. I love this quote from Tran because it just nails the core of his argument. He's basically saying we've got it all backward. We think confidence is this engine that has to start before we can go anywhere. But he says no. Confidence is a byproduct. It's the shadow that only appears once you're already in motion.
And this leads us to what he calls the confidence trap. You know what this is? It's that nagging belief that you have to feel totally confident before you can do anything important, whether that's starting a business, asking for that promotion, or even just learning a new skill. We tell ourselves we have to feel ready first, but that mindset, it's a recipe for paralysis.
And this feeling of paralysis is way more common than you'd think. In fact, studies show that nearly 70% of adults experience imposter syndrome at some point. You know, that constant nagging fear that you're not good enough and you're going to be found out. And that fear is fed almost entirely by this myth that you're supposed to feel confident before you even start.
So what's the way out of the trap? Well, the book gives us this incredible reframe. Action is what creates confidence. It's such a simple idea, but it's totally revolutionary when you think about it. You don't wait for confidence to show up. You go out and you generate it by doing. Let's just break this down visually for a second. Over on the left, you've got that old paralyzing myth we've all been taught. You need confidence, which leads to action, which then leads to success. But just look at the right. This is the new reality. It's a cycle. You take action first. That action builds competence. And it's that competence, the kind you earn through real-world experience, that creates genuine, lasting confidence.
This right here is the mantra. This is the key takeaway. Confidence isn't some magical thing you have to wait for. It's a reward. It's what you earn as a direct result of putting yourself out there even when you're terrified, and proving to yourself, hey, I can actually handle this.
Now, all of this sounds pretty good in theory, doesn't it? But does it actually hold up in the real world? The answer is a resounding yes, and we're about to look at some seriously compelling proof from both amazing personal stories and some really solid psychological research.
And we can start with the author himself. I mean, Tran's own life is the perfect example of this principle in action. He didn't wait to feel confident about speaking English before he started talking. No way. He just dove right in, embracing all the awkwardness and all the mistakes. His incredible success wasn't born from some pre-existing self-belief. It was built on his relentless willingness to just act, even when he was facing total uncertainty.
And the science completely backs this up. The famous psychologist Albert Bandura discovered that real confidence, he called it self-efficacy, is built from what he called mastery experiences. In plain English, you build confidence by successfully doing things. And then you have Carol Dweck's groundbreaking work on the growth mindset, which shows that when you see failure as a chance to learn, it frees you up to take action in the first place.
I mean, just think about Michael Jordan. He was famously cut from his high school basketball team. Can you imagine? He could have let that totally crush his confidence forever. But instead, he used it as fuel. He took massive action, practicing day in and day out. His legendary confidence wasn't some gift he was born with. It was forged in the fire of thousands of missed shots and hundreds of lost games.
This is such a great story. Sarah Blakely, the founder of Spanx, a billion-dollar company, said that her dad used to ask her and her brother this exact question every week at the dinner table. He wasn't celebrating their successes. He was celebrating their failures. Why? Because failure meant they were trying. It meant they were taking action. He totally reframed failure from something to be afraid of into a badge of honor.
Okay, so we get the why. I think we're all on board with that now. But what about the how? How do you actually put this into practice in your own life? Well, this next part is all about giving you a practical toolkit to help you stop all the overthinking and just start doing.
So the book breaks it down into 3 simple but really powerful steps. First, start ridiculously small. I mean it. If your goal is to write a book, don't even think about the book. Your goal is to write 1 sentence. That's it. That's how you build momentum. Second, you have to actively embrace failure. Remember Sarah Blakely's dad?
See your mistakes as data, not as a defeat. They're just proof that you're in the game. And third, focus only on the process. Concentrate on the daily actions you can actually control and just forget about the final outcome for now. All that matters is showing up.
So what happens when you start using these tools? Well, something pretty amazing. You start to create a completely new feedback loop in your life, a positive cycle, where taking action starts to fuel even more action.
And here's exactly what that new cycle looks like. You take one small action. That action gives you a little bit of experience, which builds your competence. That new competence creates genuine earned confidence, not some fake pump yourself up hype. And that real confidence makes it so much easier to take the next, maybe slightly bigger action. It becomes this powerful, self-perpetuating engine for growth.
And this right here really gets to the heart of everything. You have to let go of this need to be certain about everything. You're never going to have all the answers. The only thing you truly need is to be certain of your willingness to just take that next step forward into the unknown. That's it. That's where everything changes.
And that question brings us to the end. But really, it's a beginning for you. So forget about confidence for a minute. Forget about feeling ready. Just focus on this one question. What is one small, tangible, maybe even laughably easy action that you can take today to move yourself forward? Because the answer to that question, that's where your real confidence is waiting for you.